Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Star Wars Legion live stream for GenCon Online 2020. We're actually a very special event today. We're coming at you from the GenCon main stage, so thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is BK. I'm here with a couple guests. We got Luke Eddy, Star Wars Legion developer, and sculpting lead Cory DeVore. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, same.
Excited
Awesome.
to be here.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks for joining me today. We've got some exciting stuff to cover today. Obviously, a few days ago on Wednesday, we had the in-flight report. We announced a few new products for Legion. We have the Anakin Skywalker Commander expansion. We have the Darth Maul and Sith Probe Droids operative expansion for the Separatists. And then I know many people have been waiting for these other two expansions for a while for both the Republic and the Separatists. We're getting a couple Specialists expansions, so it's going to bring a lot of new versatility to your armies. Pretty exciting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about these expansions, just right off the bat here, Luke?
Oh, just off the cuff?
Yeah.
I think all four of these things were kind of like a long time coming, I guess.
Yeah.
Like things we'd planned on doing for a while, and in our schedule, we got to the point where so this would be kind of roughly wave 9 of Legion. In our schedule, we're like, all right, we have some other, exciting things coming after these, of course, but we had this wave right here where we're like, oh, what should we slot in here? And I was very adamant that we needed to hit a couple, like, fan favorites, almost
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
Fan service or like, player requested types of units, and two obvious characters for our new factions. Gotta have Anakin, gotta have Darth Maul, two of the coolest characters. Mm-hmm. And then just for the gameplay, what it does for gameplay for those two factions are the Specialist packs. So these are both things that are kind of like, things we needed to get out there, wanted to get out there for the new factions.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Clone Wars, we've been slowly kind of filling in. We started off, obviously, in the Clone Wars core set, you had Obi-Wan and Grievous, General Grievous as the commanders.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got Dooku now for Separatists. We've got Captain Rex.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got actually Cad Bane and Padme were just released a couple weeks ago for operatives.
Mm-hmm.
But now, yeah, we're like, all right, let's get. I'm sure like Anakin and Maul probably right up there on the top of everybody's like wish list for.
They were on the top of our list.
Okay, yeah. So you yourself were kind of like ready to go.
Oh,
with
yeah.
this.
Sometimes what we put out is, a little bit selfish. We kind of just want to do what we want to do sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, let's start getting into these expansions, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And before we do, I just want to tell everybody watching at home, because we are on the GenCon main stage. I'm looking at that chat right here. I know we're hosting chats from a couple different places, but if you do have any questions, I personally am looking at the GenCon main stage chat, so make sure you ask your questions in there. So yeah, let's jump in. Let's talk about Anakin Skywalker, this new commander expansion, the second Jedi commander. So we're starting to get a few more Force users in the game here. Obviously, the other one, as we just said, was Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is a little bit more defensively minded, perhaps. He has the Sarisu Mastery.
Mm-hmm.
He has Guardian 3. Anakin, maybe a little bit more offensive-minded, perhaps.
Yes, Anakin is definitely a more offensive character. And he still has some of the classic Jedi defense type of stats and abilities that, we've come to expect with those characters. But generally speaking, Anakin is way more offensively minded. And even we'll tease some of his effects and abilities. Even his defensive abilities are more offensive than other characters.
Yeah, that's right. So, pretty much at this point, like every Force character has had some sort of mastery of a form of lightsaber combat, right?
Right, yeah. All of the Force-wielding characters from the prequel era that we've done so far, we've each given them a special ability that is representative of their unique lightsaber mastery. Mm-hmm. So Anakin has the Jim So mastery ability, which will be a new ability. And Jim So is traditionally... like the Sarisu mastery that Obi-Wan has is just like the best defense. Defend as best as you possibly can. Jim So mastery is where you're also defensive, but your defense, the whole point of it, is to then turn it into an attack on your opponent or damage to your opponent. So Yeah, so it gives Anakin some different sort of flavor there than the other characters.
Yeah, he kind of like turns around those attacks on him and is like, I'm just coming right back
Right,
at you.
you hit me, I'm going to hit you.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, it reminds me of like episode 3 where they're at the very beginning like dueling Dooku a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah, Anakin kind of rushes in there.
Yeah.
It's too early.
So yeah, one of the other cool things about Anakin, like obviously he fights for the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people probably have noticed that the sculpt, and we're actually going to come to Cory here in just a couple minutes to talk about the sculpts, is very kind of Revenge of the Sith sculpt, where he is maybe starting to get tempted by the dark side a little bit. Does that kind of play into how he plays as a commander?
Yeah, it does absolutely. And I think something to note too is, even though we've depicted a Revenge of the Sith Anakin, this outfit that he wears, he starts wearing in the Clone Wars at about season 2. Mm-hmm. By season 3, he's not really wearing his Clone Wars armor anymore. Yeah. He switches to this sort of just tunic look much earlier than Obi-Wan does. I don't know what it says about those characters. Again, perhaps Obi-Wan a little more defensive than Anakin is. But something we wanted to do with the design of Anakin is have him sort of represent his character throughout the Clone Wars. So throughout the Clone Wars, you sort of see him both build in power, become a more powerful Force user, and definitely a more powerful lightsaber combatant, even more so than he is a Force user.
Yes.
And then you also see him, as you said, start to slip a little bit towards the dark side. And those seeds are there even before episode 3. And so, as John Schaefer hinted at just a little bit during our in-flight report, Anakin is actually going to grow in power as you play him in a game of Legion.
Yeah, and in fact, we actually have one of his command cards here, his
if we get that up on the screen.
That we want to show people, Hero of the Clone Wars. This kind of shows off kind of that notion of how he builds in power like throughout a game, right?
Exactly, yeah. So for this has a couple keywords on here, which I'll point out what they are. Permanent being the main one there. So permanent is a relatively new keyword that we saw a little bit in the Padme Amidala expansion. And what permanent means is after you've played this card, it sticks around. Normally command cards are discarded at the end of the round in which they are played and their effects end. Permanent just means this card is never automatically discarded on its own. So it just stays out in play. So the card itself is Anakin Skywalker gains Exemplar and Reliable 2. Exemplar means that friendly units at range 1, I believe, can use some of Anakin's tokens.
Yes.
And Reliable 2 means at the start of each round, he's going to get 2 surge tokens. So automatically, he's going to have some tokens to share with units around him. It sort of represents like, he was a leader in the Clone Wars, leading by example, and sort of his energy, sort of a lot of other troops and things fed off of that energy. Now, the downside, though, is, as you can see at the end of the activation, if he's not at range 1 to 2 of a friendly unit, he gains 1 suppression token.
Yes.
So that's Anakin sort of like, when he's off on his own, he doesn't have his buddies, doesn't have Obi-Wan, doesn't have Padme, kind of reining him in a little bit. He starts to sort of accrue, I guess, in some cases, maybe some affinity for the dark side.
Maybe, yeah.
Or even just what it will represent in-game is the more suppression he has, the less control the player will have over that unit.
And not only is the art on this card really good.
It's incredible.
Yeah, but this also kind of gives players an idea of what his other command cards are like, perhaps, right? They all kind of have permanent on them, so they're going to give him abilities throughout the game, and they all have this kind of drawback, correct?
Yes, so we are only spoiling one command card today.
Right,
You'll have to look forward to the other ones in future preview articles. But we will say right now that every single one of his command cards has permanent. It gives him some keywords, and it has a drawback. So depending on what keywords those cards have, there's like, you kind of want to play them before you need them, or like maybe you want to play this one on this turn for the specific reason, but then the pip value is sort of dictated by what you want to do. So there's more powerful ones like this, Hero of the Clone Wars, that boost your whole forces, have a lower pip value. And his ones that are more centered on just himself acting have that lower pip value. So there's some give and take there and some interesting decision making about what abilities you power him up with first and sort of anticipating engagements. But yeah, once you have all of his cards in play, he has a ton more of abilities and just is this crazy force to be reckoned with on the battlefield.
Yeah, it seems like a real interesting... you really have to think about the timing of his cards. I mean, obviously there's times where you want priority, but you also maybe want some of his abilities a little bit. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it seems real cool. I'm real excited about that.
Oh yeah, he's a lot of fun to play.
Oh man, I had to transition into another question. Oh yeah, so in addition to his command cards... obviously, we showed off the product spread the other day on the in-flight report.
Yeah, that very sneaky product spread.
Yes, yeah. And a lot of fans at home, perhaps, a few people in chat are asking about this. They noticed this other card that has this
what's that, guys?
Yeah. How much do you want to say about that, Luke?
Well, I mean, we'll acknowledge that they noticed it, obviously, and that is intentionally there. And it is a brand new type of card you've never seen before. And I won't get into any real specific details about mechanics or anything, but it is a card that represents Anakin's Flaw, that represents his turn to the dark side, and it's the Emperor, of course. Well, not the Emperor at that point. Chancellor Palpatine,
yes.
Sort of taking Anakin aside and sort of sowing these seeds of doubt in Anakin's mind. And so Anakin, as I said, through his permanent command cards, but also through this, becomes more difficult for the player to control. And this Flaw card is what we're calling it. You give it to your opponent at the start of the game, and it's your opponent who then has the opportunity to play that card against you and sort of, influence Anakin in the midst of the battle. Okay,
so is it kind of like a command card for your opponent?
It is like a command card, but it is not technically a command card. It's a new type of card. It'll be played during the command phase, but doesn't replace playing a command card.
Okay, so if you're going to play, you would play this card, and then you would also play your own command card if you were playing against an Anakin player.
Well, it will depend on the card.
Oh, sure.
So
okay,
this is a mechanic that we're going to have more of in the future with other characters who, perhaps they have some sort of personal flaw, or perhaps they have some sort of sympathy for the other side.
Okay.
So we're going to see more of this, and the cards themselves will just tell you exactly when you play it. It'll go into play like a command card, stay in play for the duration of that round, and then be discarded and just given back to the player who owns it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, all right. So real excited to delve more deeply into that. Obviously, as you said, we'll see all of his command cards. We'll see this the new flawed card in future preview, so stay tuned for that. Cory, let's actually jump over to you. Let's talk about these Anakin sculpts here.
Yeah.
So Anakin, he comes in. You can build him in two different poses. And one of the things that's really cool to me, and obviously we'll talk about Maul here in a little bit, but both of them come with two different head options, which I think is probably the first time we've... I mean, I know with clones we have different helmets and things, but...
We started actually... we actually did it with Cad Bane. There's two head options with,
that's right.
two expressions, one with a hat, one without. But... after doing that, we were like, we should need to do more of this. Because also with Anakin, it's fitting to have a couple expressions. There's a lot of intense, Anakin facial expressions that Hayden Christensen does throughout episode 3 and even episode 2. And also, at the same time, he's also kind of this lovable kind of, he's him and Obi-Wan. Yeah, they're charismatic, and both kind of fun. And even though Obi-Wan usually complains about it, he does the same stuff anyway. So they get along. They have fun. And so you kind of get that two sides of Anakin. And it was also kind of part of why we did some of the posing choices that we did. I felt it was really strong. Me and the sculptor who did this, Robert, we really wanted to push the difference between him and Obi-Wan. Like the fact that Obi-Wan is more defensive, even though, again, this seems like a defensive pose. But it's about a certain amount of rage and build up before a charge, right? We didn't want to just do a running pose or something, although we thought about it. So what we kind of ended up with was just this kind of intense. This was kind of the first one we started with, and then we wanted to open it up and do something a little more akin to something that Obi-Wan might do, or something that Obi-Wan would have taught him necessarily. Something that just makes him have a little more of an open pose, right? And versus this kind of closed off and angry thing. And of course, you have that angry, intense face, and you've also got the cocky smile, a little bit of on the side of the face.
I was gonna say, like, it almost, we were talking with Luke here about how Anakin is this kind of conflicted character, and I feel like that kind of comes through in the sculpts almost, where you have like one pose where he's more defensive, kind of like Anakin, or no, I'm sorry, he is Anakin, like Obi-Wan, who has is more defensive character himself, and then you have the more open, kind of more offensive, like I'm gonna kind of go on the attack and really kind of lay into you, right?
Nope, yeah, they definitely conflict to the extent that there's like two separate torsos because the arms are so extreme, you can't just like have a hole here. So yes, they definitely conflict, but it's fun. He should be pretty fun to assemble, and you have some cool options.
Yeah, this is like a perfect like Gemso pose where it's like that block is only because he's going to hit you back as soon as he counters you.
Yeah, he's ready to just like nail you when you come in at him, right?
Oh yeah, yep. No, I remember Rob the sculptor just pouring over videos from the movies and the Clone Wars TV show of Anakin fighting to like work on these poses.
Yeah, and it's like you want to give him something unique, but also I don't know. It's hard to find options, and it's like hard to also. A lot of his poses are so unique that it's like you can't get a second option if you wanted one, and so it's just a challenge. But I really love what we ended up with. I can't imagine a lot of characters that we would do that kind of intense two-hand thing, rushing forward. So it's exciting.
Yeah, and so I mean, obviously, there are quite a few Jedi. They all wear similar robes and things, but probably one of the, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just making assumptions here about sculpting. But one of the things you probably want to try and convey their unique personality in the sculpts. And what were some of the ways, in addition to kind of the poses, one of the cool things that I noticed is Anakin has the scar on his face even in there a little bit. So how did you try and versus Obi-Wan, for example, how did you try and kind of get his personality in there a little bit more?
Well, definitely the scar, and also his outfit is really unique to him. Even though it's very similar in cut and style to what Obi-Wan wears. Obi-Wan is very famous for his kind of soft, knitted robe that is very rounded on the shoulders and very it kind of hugs him and it's very loose. But Anakin, he's basically wearing a similar outfit, but the paneling is not robe; it's actually leather. So it's very pointy in the corners, and it's also a little starchier. So it's it's a little more firm in the cloth folds and stuff. Didn't want to make it as billowy, and I think that what it does is it kind of gives him this a kind of not evil, but he's
a bad boy.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of this. This silhouette that comes through, and I feel like it was really important that we made sure that his robes it felt like the right material. And it felt like it came across that that silhouette that he has when he stands brooding. His shoulders popped out. It's unique to him, and no other Jedi has it. They usually have the Obi-Wan style soft robes. So
yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So. Before we move on to the Republic Specialists, I actually want to come back over to Luke. So we're getting a few questions in the chat about this.
All right. Well, I'll answer a few questions.
Yeah. But so one of the big things, and I think we talked about this yesterday. What's going to be the points cost of a guy like Anakin? We talked he's kind of high risk, high reward.
I did say I'd maybe reveal some points cost.
Yep.
No, and I think especially in some of these new factions, clones, obviously a lot of them have expensive units, so you need to think about how am I going to fit this into my army? And the other side, the droids have so many cheap units. You're well, how many? I need to make as much room as I can.
Yes, yep.
So Anakin, because he is designed as a high-risk, high-reward character, and because his power level builds over the start of the game, or over the course of the game, meaning at the start he's a lower power level, he's going to clock in at 160.
So base cost of 160.
Reasonable. Yeah, 15 points less than Obi-Wan, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. All right. So kind of got some options there, different possibilities for maybe powering him up. Obviously,
by the end of the game, if you've gotten all his command cards in play, he is worth a lot more than 160.
160, yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. So I think that's probably a good place to end talking about Anakin. You guys want to talk about some Republic Specialists?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Republic Specialists, very cool. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities to the Rebel and Imperial Specialists, but there's also some pretty important differences, I would say. One of the things that I saw kind of the reaction to the other day, right after the in-flight report, was are these guys, like, so we have the echoing the other ones, we have clone commander in there, we have a clone engineer in there, clone medic, and a clone comms technician.
Yes.
So the same upgrades that can go in those personnel slots.
The same ones you've come to know and love.
Yep, but there's maybe, like the medic and the engineer, are those guys going to be non-combatants like they were in the other ones?
Well, would it make sense for a clone running around with a gun to be a non-combatant?
I don't think so.
No, so the clone engineer and the clone medic both do not have the non-combatant keyword. That was a keyword on the other medics and engineers for the, oh, thank you, Ryan, for the Rebel and Imperial medic and engineer. So the clones don't have that keyword. They are combatants. They can fight. To balance that, though, instead of like the other engineers and medics healing 2 wounds, the clone medic and the clone engineer will each heal 1 wound.
Okay, yeah, so not quite as powerful in their personnel effects, but they can fire back.
But they actually are adding attack dice to the attacks that the unit is making.
Interesting, all right. And so with the clone commander, and we'll obviously get into this a little bit more when we talk about the Separatist, the T-Series tactical droid that comes with the Separatist Specialists.
Yeah, that boy.
But these guys, again, very similar to their counterparts with the Rebel and Imperial. They come with actually some newer keywords, and they have a little bit, just slightly higher cost.
Well, 5 points.
Yeah, 5 points.
So we want to reveal the cost of these guys too, because again, it's fun to think about how they might play into your army. So actually, both the clone and the T-Series tactical droid generic commanders for your armies will be 55 points.
Okay.
So nice and inexpensive. Again, only 5 points more than the Rebel and Imperial ones. The stats on the clone commander are considerably better than the Rebel and Imperial ones. You'll have red armor saves, like other clones, and a better gun, too.
Yep.
So you can look forward to that. But as you alluded to, they also have, they don't share the exact same keywords as the Rebel and Imperial ones. So you can look forward to 2 brand new keywords that they have that were specifically designed for synergy with the faction that you find them in.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, I mean, just a slight tick up in points, but
yeah,
worth it for the benefits that you get for
very
those 5
worth
extra
it.
points.
I think more so than the Rebel and Imperial ones, which the Rebel and Imperial ones, taking one of those in place of any other commander sort of has a bit of a cost to it. They're not that points efficient. Whereas these guys, we wanted players to fully be able to have a competitive army with just a clone commander or just a T-Series tactical droid. So these guys perform quite well.
Okay, yeah, very nice. And obviously, in addition to the specialists you're going to get in this pack, the other big thing that people are looking forward to are 3 new command cards.
Right, yeah, the generic command cards.
Generic command cards for the particular faction. And so we're going to show off the 1 pip for the Republic here, the Synchronized Offensive, which is pretty cool. It really kind of helps you do get some vehicles going. Obviously, we have the Saber tank.
Yep.
You have and upcoming stuff, we have the Republic ATRT that's coming up here in just a little bit. And yeah, so tell me a little bit more. What's going on with the Synchronized Offensive?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the 1 pips that these 2 factions got for the generic cards. So if you recall the Rebel and Imperial ones, if you're familiar with those, the different sort of 1, 2, and 3 pips sort of played with what rank they order issues to. These ones are going to play with what type of unit they issue orders to. So the 1 pips are there to encourage players to utilize vehicles, and they're very good 1 pips. Being able to, as the card says, after a friendly vehicle is issued an order, choose a friendly clone trooper at range 1 to 2 and issue that unit an order. That, for the clones, means setting up those fire support attacks, where a clone trooper with a face-up order token can add its dice to an attack that another unit is making. In this case, probably the vehicle that's near it. So this effect right here specifically sets up that sort of 1-2 punch with a 1 pip. So you may, that may be your alpha strike, so to speak. But you need a vehicle in order to do it. And I think that actually fits well with the generic commanders, because by taking a generic commander, you're spending less points on your commander character, and you have more points left over to spend on vehicles on a bunch of ATRTs or on one, maybe two saber tanks. So it synergizes well with what you might be doing with that generic commander.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I mean you're spending less points obviously on the commander, so you can fit these bigger vehicles in there. People call me out. I forgot to mention the Bark in terms of the also a Republic vehicle
yes,
that is available.
It also works with the Bark. Yeah, well, the Bark's flying around though. It might be a little harder to set up, but that Bark still converts surges, so it's a good fire support platform.
Yeah, so it does synergize very nicely with kind of like existing Republic abilities, fire support, things like that. You can, if you really want to hit something pretty hard, you can hit it with the saber tank and a unit of clones.
Unit of clones with like a Z6, yeah, that's a mean shot right there.
That's
and
you can
get it off. You can get it off with a 1-pip, which you couldn't do with any other 1-pips because traditionally a 1-pip only orders a order token to one unit, and to fire support, the clone unit needs to have an order token. And if it's a 1-pip, that's your one token, and you don't have the other unit ready to go to activate as well. So by giving out 2 orders essentially with a 1-pip, it lets you set that up.
Yes, okay, very nice, yeah. All of these things, yeah, see, it seems like development.
Yeah, this is what we do.
You gotta think about these things.
A little bit.
Cool. All right, yeah. So Cory, let's talk about these sculpts. I love these sculpts. Obviously, the first thing that I noticed, probably the first thing that everybody else noticed, was this little clone commander right here. This guy right here. He's got the little hologram, which looks so cool. Tell me more about that. How did you guys do that?
Yeah, that was kind of my... So as soon as someone was like, oh, we got to do a generic commander pose or generic commander option, and we talked about having... Like, one thing that we want to do is make sure people have options for these generic commanders, too, because sometimes you can take more than one, or just, like, there's going to be more than one at the table, and you want to make sure that you're not just running, like, the same looking figure across from each other. So... I was like, well, I need a couple options. And the first one that I wanted to do, and I'd thought about before, I was like, I love, like, when Commander Cody or whoever pops out the little hologram. And I was like, let's see if someone will let me do it. Because I was not sure, because, it's so tiny. And I went for it, and I made it as big as it had to be for production, and it is... so small.
It's so small, but yet it has detail.
It has detail. It looks. You can tell it's a clone.
It's a little clone.
Gun. Yeah. It has a little gun, and it's awesome. It shouldn't be too crazy to paint, honestly. Cause
you just paint it blue and then
paint
get
a little blue,
little white highlights, and then
a little dry brush or something. And so he was a lot of fun to pitch, and of course I wanted a couple other options, like him holding his own helmets, which, by the way. This is true for all of these, but they all have Phase 2 and Phase 1 options, as well as the helmet that he's holding in his arm has a Phase 2 and a Phase 1 option. So
that's right, yeah.
And helmetless heads.
And helmetless heads. They all have 3 heads. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun to get that. And everyone loved it as soon as they saw it. I was like, oh, I don't have to convince you? Great. Awesome.
Rock and roll. Yeah. So are these production copies of the minis?
These are test shots. Yeah, these are actual shots of plastic from the factory. So.
Nice. Okay. Cool. So
the real deal.
Yeah.
Real deal.
Nice taste of things to come, perhaps. Yeah. I mean, you already kind of talked about how they each have a few different options and different helmets, and they can also go helmetless, which is very cool. I think again everybody at home, they don't miss a thing. I believe there's one that kind of has like a mohawk, which is really cool.
I was lucky enough to do these ones, and so I was like, well, I gotta come up with a couple more hairdos. We gotta do some more hairdos. So yeah, there's 2 kind of classic clone, the Tamora Morrison hair from episode 2, and then there's a mohawk, and then there's just like the buzz cut, which a lot of them have in Clone Wars and such. So trying to get a couple other things in there, and I'm definitely excited about that.
Very cool, yeah. And what are some of the other options for? I mean, obviously the commander himself, very cool. What are some of the other options for the other guys down here?
So each one of this guy mostly just has the backpack is technically optional, but mostly he's just helmet options. He's the engineer. He's got a Phase 1 and a Phase 2 unique gunner helmet. Which we used for that guy. And then the medic and the comms tech back here each also have just holding a gun Like, so
Okay.
you can actually turn them into and take their backpacks off and such. Like, this guy's backpack is just magneted on. It doesn't have straps. So you can actually just turn them into vanilla clone troopers that if you want to swap into your other units just to spice up the look, give them some backpacks, you know.
Okay.
So you have flexibility. You don't just have to use that model if you just want more variety from your other clones and so on. So.
Sure. And as we were talking about earlier, these guys all are like, ready to contribute to the unit if they're, firing at something. So it can just be like a nice alternate option in that way as well, right?
Exactly. So whatever you want to do with them.
Yeah, I love that the medic here has the little data pad unique to the Clone Wars series that we see characters using.
Yeah. No, that was this. We were kind of looking at, like, is it Kix? Is his name?
The medic. Yeah.
He's the medic, and he just always has that backpack, and he's pretty much just like a vanilla clone trooper, except for that backpack and his coloring. But I was like, we need to get something. We need to do something to like make him just actually look like he's doing, like, checking vitals.
Doing a thing, yeah.
Because the clones are not always depicted with tools, as often. Like the engineer has.
The hydrospanner.
He has like a hydrospanner on his leg, and so it's just trying to get those little things that help push it over and say, oh yeah, they have tools. Like they actually are going to do something,
Yeah.
He's not just a crouching stormtrooper. He's checking vitals, and you can pay him like Kix if you want.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, like a lot of nice, cool little details in there. Really kind of help. Like, this is what this mini actually does.
Yep.
Yeah.
In battle. So.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I'm a big fan of the details that the clone commander has on his armor, because it's not just like, what is it? He's got a comma, he's got the shoulder antenna, he's got the helmet with the visor, and then he's also got the extra like 2-part shoulder strap and pauldron.
Yep.
So it's like 3 different clone commanders combined into one.
Kind of, yeah. We wanted to kind of come up with our own, yeah. And it was like, well, the Commander Cody has like it's not just the visor. He's got like a unique chin and cameras and things. And so we were like, well, a visored helmet is nice because that's something that you obviously see as a commander. However, in the TV show and stuff, you see more than one clone with the shoulder antenna, which Cody also
has one too.
Yep. And then that unique strap that's not like the ARC Trooper pauldron is like the Bark Speeders droiders have it. There's a couple
Nemo
commanders.
and like Baraka, I think.
Yeah, Baraka has it. And so, so we just wanted to give him, he's a little bit unique. And
he's kind of our own little boy.
And that shoulder pad is, because of the pull direction needs, it actually pops on and off. So you can also give him a vanilla shoulder
nice.
if you want
There you
to
go.
cut off the antenna or whatever you want to do. So he's flexible.
Yep. All right, so we're just over halfway through, so I think it's time to move on. Let's talk about Maul here, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. So we have the Darth Maul and Sith probe droids operative expansion for the Separatist Alliance. So Maul, obviously a pretty iconic character with his double-bladed lightsaber. We'll actually have Cory talk about the 3 different poses for him in a little bit. But what do you want to tell us about Maul here, Luke?
Man, what do I want to tell you about Maul? I don't know. What do you want me to say? He was, this was a unit I was super excited to design. Had a lot of thoughts about, what his abilities should be and stuff. And I think one of the things that definitely led the design of him was, again, how we've given these prequel characters their own unique abilities that represent their lightsaber masteries. And Darth Maul has Joyo mastery, which is you take that inner rage and conflict and hatred, the dark side, and you fuel that into the energy in your lightsaber fight. So Maul is just all about being a whirlwind of destruction. Although he does have some other elements too, because when he's not that, he's also a sneaky boy, So he has some tricks up his sleeve as well. And one of the things that was cool was, I don't even know at what point in visioning the unit this would have been, but I think someone mentioned like probe droids, and we're like, oh hey, why not? Let's just have a unit of Sith. We're not going to probably get around to doing it, otherwise. And there's such an iconic part of, that first encounter with Maul on Tatooine. You've seen the probe droids sneaking around.
Sound effect.
Yep, that noise. Yeah. So, So that was a cool extra thing to sort of develop alongside him as well as this unit of Sith probe droids. They're their own unit that accompanies Maul.
Okay, yeah. So actually, I was about to ask this anyway, and we're getting questions in the chat about it. We have the iconic double-bladed lightsaber,
Yeah.
which helps him roll quite a few dice.
He rolls a lot of dice.
Yeah. Do you want to say how many dice he rolls?
Okay, good thing we printed off unit cards. Oh yeah, he rolls 8 dice.
Yeah.
So instead of doing, Grievous classic multiple lightsabers all over the place, so he had to have Arsenal 2. For a double-bladed lightsaber, Arsenal 2 doesn't that often do a whole lot because mostly in combat you want to concentrate on one unit. And even though Maul fights multiple opponents, like how he wins that fight is by concentrating on one person at a time. So Maul doesn't really split his attacks. He's like, he can defend against multiple people, but he wants to focus down on one person. So it didn't seem like it was advantageous mechanically or thematically to give the character Arsenal 2. For those who don't know Legion, Arsenal 2 just means you combine 2 weapons together. So we could have represented the double-bladed lightsaber as 2 different sets of dice on his card, but it made more sense to just combine them together into one 8-dice attack that he has, that he just nails one character with.
Yeah. So he's coming at you.
Oh yeah, he's
pretty
coming
hard.
at you. Yes.
And so yeah, he also has another couple keywords that are. Talk about just the other few keywords that he has. It's kind of stuff you would expect for like a Force user, perhaps.
Exactly. He can jump, of course. We'd expect that. Same with Anakin. Just got to get that classic Force jump in there. But I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But I think definitely Maul has some of the most versatile play of any character we've made so far. So you really get that sort of sense of him flowing in combat, and that sort of sense of movement and unpredictability that I think really defines how that character fights.
Yeah, we're actually going to take a look here in just a second about kind of that movement and flow. But before we do, 8-dice attack, obviously. The Juyo Mastery, a lot of other cool things.
Yeah.
What's the base cost?
Oh yeah,
of our friend Darth Maul here.
Fun fact for you kids at home. So Maul and Anakin have the same cost. Maul is also a sort of a high-risk, high-reward character. He's very much on the defensive. But, if you're not careful, he can get himself into a bad position and die to, just concentrated ranged fire. No melee character wants to be in that position. They want to get into the fight. So being a high-risk, high-reward character was, again, one of the design goals because I didn't want to end up with another Separatist unit that is, 175, 200 plus points because as you have too many of those characters, it's hard to combine them in the same army. Especially as an operative, you need to pay for a commander, even if it is a generic one. Maul clocks in at a nice 160 points.
Very nice, yeah. And so, let's go back. You were talking about how, and, obviously, iconic duel at the end of The Phantom Menace there between Obi-Wan, Maul, and Qui-Gon Jinn. He just kind of, flows in combat. He's at first he's taking on Obi-Wan, then he's just going over here fighting Qui-Gon.
He kicks Obi-Wan real far off that ledge to just fight Qui-Gon for a while.
Yep. So he's fighting them both. He's moving around in combat quite well. And that is reflected in this really amazing command card.
Yeah, let's see a command
great
card.
Name. Great art, Duel of the Fates, where he can move around to different targets. Perhaps he can do a lot of stuff with it.
This one has a keyword on here, which for those who don't know, disengage means normally when 2 units are in melee combat, 2 trooper units, characters, are in melee combat, it's difficult for one to leave. But disengage means that if the character has that keyword, they can just freely move out of that combat. So because this card is about locking down an opponent, we wanted to add in the ability to move out of, say, a disadvantaged engagement into a better one. So say he's locked in combat with another Force user and that fight's not going as well, he could actually instead move into engagement with, a bunch of clone troopers who really don't want to get into lightsaber combat with Darth Maul.
They don't want to deal with 8 dice coming at them. Right?
Exactly. But this card is, Duel of the Fates is quite potent actually against Force users, though. That second part there, while Maul is engaged, and again, that's when 2 characters are in melee combat with an enemy unit, that unit cannot spend aim, dodge, standby, or surge tokens. So those tokens, especially the dodge tokens, are really what Jedi live off of. That's how they improve their defenses in combat. That's how even sometimes they do damage back to other characters. So Maul really basically counters a key part of other Force users, and this card gives you that sense of him as a duelist.
Yes.
And the negating standby tokens in there too is also a direct counter to one of Obi-Wan's cards, where Obi-Wan, it's his hello there card. One of the things he can do is get a surge or a standby token in order to react to another unit coming in. He could use that, say, to hit back if someone engages him in melee. But this card of Maul's directly counters that. So again, we have Maul. Even though Obi-Wan does, in the end, get the better of Maul in that fight. For most of it, Maul has the upper hand. So that's represented there a little bit.
Yeah. And this also would shut down, any token sharing that the Republic has going on, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't say they can't spend their own tokens, just say they cannot spend tokens.
Any at all,
so, yeah, for those people who are familiar with the clones, you know that they can share tokens amongst each other. So this shuts that down as well.
So even if Padme was nearby and Obi-Wan wanted to use one of her tokens, he could not, right?
Right, yeah, and that's the exemplar keyword as well that we saw with Anakin. Padme has that too, and that's sort of along with the clone token sharing, there are characters that also share tokens. That's kind of a theme of the Republic units, and this, you're right, shuts that down as well.
Very nice, yeah. So he's going to be pretty nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Cory, let's turn to the sculpts again. Obviously, we have 3 sculpts for this guy. We have, he has the lightsaber out in front of him, very reminiscent of, obviously iconic moment at the end of Phantom Menace. The doors open, he breaks out the lightsaber, lights it up. He has the lightsaber held behind him with the hand in front, and he also can do, I believe, we have the render up on the screen, or we did, 2 hands on the lightsaber. Tell us a little bit about coming up with the different sculpts for Maul here.
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to get some pose options in here so people could have different Mauls and try different things. But there was actually one that I started with, which was based off a key moment in that final room when he's fighting. It's actually from when he's fighting Obi-Wan right after killing Qui-Gon. And it's where he does a little spin around, and he's got this nice whirlwind in his cloth. And that's, I believe, this one where he's got this back arm saber. And I just loved that pose, and I really wanted to push the facial expressions as well. There's 2 facial expressions with him. And in that, in a lot of these moments when he's with Obi-Wan especially, he's just got that big, vicious, teeth-bearing face. And I just felt like that had such a great little, just stop from the attack, about to whirlwind back in and just start just destroying things. And I really wanted to capture that. Of course, the natural other option is you do the intense face, and of course, the intense face moment is what you just said when the doors open and he's got that really just.
It's I'm not messing around.
Yeah, and so of course this is the natural other option, but we wanted to get a nice 2-handed option in there too, and thankfully his poses are so open and they require that we could get him in there without getting too crazy with many parts reasons. Or
right, unlike Anakin.
Unlike Anakin, where it's an extreme
torsos.
change.
Yeah.
We were able to do it pretty easily because these are quite open poses. He's always just flowing.
Yeah, well, and I love this one because it's reminiscent of the move he does where the door behind him's not open yet, and he does that point to something and then throws it right at the button to the door and then turns.
Yeah.
So he does.
He's got it behind him. Yeah, I love it. So
it's very cool.
It was something I definitely wanted to capture. And
yeah, I think it's really cool how Luke has been talking about how Maul he kind of flows in combat, right? And you kind of see that in these sculpts. Obviously, you look at his robes and they're flowing. They're not just kind of sitting down at his sides or anything like that. You can kind of tell that he's moving these lightsabers,
or even just moving
around,
arbitrarily. You look at these and it's got a specific movement that's being emphasized here in his cloak.
Yeah, is that kind of spin or stop spinning or whatever? Yeah, and which is definitely based. There's a couple moments he does it, but there's a few key ones that
absolutely, yeah. So I'm actually being reminded in the chat here.
Is this about the pips?
Oh well, yeah, we should talk about that. So that was a question that came up earlier. Obviously, in the spread there, Maul has 2 command cards that only have 1 pip on them.
Yeah, man, eagle eyes. Well, and again, I like these sneaky spreads where if you look close, you catch something. Yeah, so we revealed one of his 1 pips. He has another 1 pip.
Yes.
And now some people who, know Legion pretty well have commented, oh, maybe that's not so great because, like, then you have to somehow have another 3 pip. I guess you use a generic one and then the commanders. But no, his other 1 pip, and the reason we're not spoiling it is because it ties directly into his other mechanics and we want to wait for those. But I will say that his other 1 pip replaces a 3 pip. So similar to Han Solo's 0 pip card that says, while building your command hand, treat this as though it had 1 pip. Maul's other 1 pip says, while building your command hand, treat this as though it had 3 pips. So he actually has a 1 instead of a 3. So again, that's emphasizing just how eager he is and how aggressive he is and how he's the one initiating combat.
Yeah, he wants to get in there.
Oh, yeah.
He's not messing around. Very cool. So we're running a little low on time. We only have 15 minutes left, and we do want to talk about the Separatist Specialists.
Yes.
Before we do that, we have got a little too caught up, perhaps, in how awesome Darth Maul is, and we have forgot to talk about his Sith probe droids.
Yeah.
So they're very cool as well. They are a detachment from him, correct?
Yep, so you have to field Maul in order to field the Sith probe droids. They're a Special Forces unit. You get 3 of them. I think we don't want to give a lot away about them because they're a good thing to reveal later in some preview articles.
Exactly, yeah.
But on our in-flight report, John Schaefer did mention that they utilize a brand new token, an observation token. So this is something you're going to see in other units as well coming up, such as the Viper Recon droid and the Separatist Specialist, which we'll talk about. But it's a new type of token that lets a unit sort of hang back but influence the battlefield. So
get some interesting new mechanics in there.
Yeah. But we should definitely talk about the sculpt because it's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, Cory, you were telling us a lot about the sculpt before the stream. Tell us a little bit more about the Sith probe droid here.
Yeah, this is a fun. It's a little bit hard to see probably up there, but this is like. I actually I enjoy doing a lot of droids and stuff, and I enjoy when we get to do them because it's fun to try and capture all the nuance and shapes and hard surface stuff. But there's this like weird little clamshell and just making that model work and part well. Plus it's got like exposed wires and cameras. So just getting the all those little bits without having it to be a ton of parts or making it difficult. It's like one of my big things and part of what I do is make sure stuff is fun to assemble. And that's one that I feel like is pretty fun to assemble for how crazy it looks in the end. It's hard to look at it and be like, how is this made? Yeah. Which is fun.
It's like a little puzzle.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool.
And so Maul is going to come with 3 of those guys, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So, yeah, look for more on Maul and his Sith probe droids, obviously, in the coming months.
Yep.
On our website, we'll have preview articles for all of those. And just like all of our mini streams, I should take the time to say right now, the announcement article for all of these expansions is going to go up right after this stream. There's going to be a couple more spoilers in there. I believe I have some upgrade cards in there, so be on the lookout for that. Let's move into our last expansion here.
Yeah.
The Separatist Specialists.
Last but not least.
Yes, last but not least. I know this is probably especially for Separatists because they're a faction that really relies on, hey, we're going to throw a lot of units at you. They have been waiting a long time for, here, we're going to have this cheap generic commander. And the T-Series tactical droid that comes in this expansion really kind of helps out Separatist strategies in a lot of ways. Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, well, the Separatist faction is an army of extremes. You have the cheapest units in the game, and then you have some of the most expensive units in the game. So it helps on both fronts, too. It can help you have a horde army, or it can help you like have the budget for some of those more expensive things. And especially with Maul coming out, we already have Cad Bane as an operative, but they're not leading the army, so you still need another character. And a T-Series tactical droid can stand in as the commander of your army, save you some points, let you have an operative, and still devote points to core units, maybe some special forces, etc.
Very cool, yeah. So one of the things that also, in addition to, I mean, obviously, the big exciting thing is this T-Series tactical droid.
Yeah.
But there's some cool stuff with the actual specialists. Unfortunately, we don't have any of the minis for these guys, but you get a little bit difference here. In the other ones, we had, obviously, the engineer, the commander, the medic, and the comms tech.
Right.
We don't have those exactly in this expansion.
Droids don't need a comms tech.
Exactly.
They already got that stuff built in. So they get another little droid, the Viper Recon droid, which looks amazing. I love his two little leg options. He's got the hanging down. He's got the little like floaty.
Couple leg options.
He is going to use those observation tokens I talked about before. So similar to the other specialist upgrades, he'll slot into a unit. He's not going to. Well, he actually can attack, I should say. He's not a non-combatant. But that's not his primary role. His primary role is going to be influencing the battle with those tokens.
Okay, yeah. So another way for the Separatists to get the observation tokens, in addition to Maul, we're going to have. Yeah, so all right, so we're going to see observation.
Yeah, not a lot, but we're going to sprinkle it in for the kind of units that make sense to be using it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was something in designing this wave. I mean, knew there was going to be those two droids like that, and there's going to be droids like that in the future. There's a lot of sort of spy droids in Star Wars. And it seemed like a natural sort of token to introduce into the game.
Okay, yeah, so...
To give those droids something to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, obviously they seem like, they're a very integral part of armies and things in the Star Wars galaxy, so... very cool. We already talked about the T-Series tactical droid. You want to talk about a Separatist command card?
Yeah, let's throw a command card up on screen.
All right. So, obviously the Separatists, we showed the synchronized offensive for the Republic that involved a vehicle. Obviously, the Separatists also use a lot of vehicles.
They do.
The AAT tank probably being the most iconic, but they have a few others. I'll try and get them all this time. We got the Droidicas from the core
Yep,
set.
they are technically a vehicle.
Yep. And we have the Staff Riders that are coming out very soon.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Okay, yeah. I didn't miss anything this time.
One heavy and 2 support units.
Yep. So we have Mechanized Incursion, which is the Separatist only. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, if you can cast your mind back to just a few minutes ago, this is almost exactly the same text as the Republic card that we saw, Synchronized Offensive. Obviously, it says Separatist only, and it says Droid Trooper instead of Clone Trooper. But it has the same effect, that after you give a friendly unit an order token, then you choose a friendly Droid Trooper, in this case, at range 1 to 2, and give that unit an order. Now, even though the effects are exactly the same, it does totally different things for the two factions, which is kind of cool. As I said, the clone one lets you set up that fire support shot because of the clone's fire support ability. The Mechanized Incursion, though, for a Separatist army, droid troopers, core troopers, most of them have the coordinate ability, which lets them daisy chain and pass order tokens along to the whole army because they're sort of networked like that. So what this does is, normally with a 1-pip, you can only give an order to one unit, especially like a character's 1-pip, like Count Dooku's. It's only going to give an order to him or Grievous's. And Separatist players know, they're well aware, you have those dud turns, those 1-pip turns where the droids don't get any orders. And, then they have to just work off of their AI because they're not being told what to do and they play subpar. However, this is a 1-pip that if you have a vehicle, you can actually hit that vehicle and then start that daisy chain. So with a 1-pip, it still gives you, in some cases, total control of your army. And it's especially good with the Staff Riders, as you see here.
Yes, yep.
Because those are vehicles that have the coordinate keyword. So again, almost identical text, but a totally different effect for the faction that it's in.
Very cool, man.
It's cool stuff.
Yeah, it's like you guys planned it or something. I mean, it seems like there's like a lot of applications for that with Separatists, though. Especially if you have, a big like AAT tank or...
Yeah, you want that thing to have an order. Yeah, especially on like a turn that you want to go first. That's the thing you want to give an order to. But then you're like, oh darn, none of my droids don't know what to do.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking about, I really like droidicas with like linked targeting array. And if you really want to get them that like aim token, you can order them and you can give them an order, and then they can just hit some battle droids. And
absolutely, and start that chain.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. We have, just to go back, just to answer some questions, the T-Series Tactical Droid Commander version, also 55 points.
Also 55 points. And what's funny is they have the same abilities. The Clone one and the Clone Commander and the T-Series Droid have the same abilities, The stats on the T-Series are garbage. Clones are really good. T-Series, he's not much of a fighter. He's got bad saves, he's got bad attack, but the keywords that they have, that we are not going to tell you what they are yet, are so much better on the droid that they cost the same points.
Yeah, so they can do stuff that might help with Separatist strategies, perhaps. Yeah, all right, yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
There we go. So, again, we don't have the actual production copies of the minis for this
They
expansion.
do exist.
They do exist.
There's no delay or anything like that.
Yeah. But, well, we do have the renders up on the screen, or we did earlier. Cory, tell us a little about those. I mean, so these droids are all, I feel like, obviously with the Separatists, you have a lot of, like, uniform droids, like B1 battle droids, so, like, they all look the same, B2s, things like that. In this pack, you're getting 4 completely different droids.
Totally different, yeah. No, that was something that's something that's actually kind of cool about the Separatist pack, especially. And it's like with the clones, you have like 4 clones. And they all have to have different gear to like feel different. But with those droids, you have so many more like just unique, specific ones. Like there's that medic who's just crazy, like he's just bonkers. Yep. And like all droids, it's a lot easier to get like a little bit of posability without making them difficult to assemble. So you have like some arm movement. You got those, so you got some options, including the T series has like a head that's on a ball and can rotate around. But yeah, what's really fun about all of them is that like each of them has like their own kind of quirky thing. Like is it the PK? I always forget the
PK
name.
worker droid.
PK worker droid, and he's got like a little B1 head.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, which was like I think it's an art piece.
Yeah, it was Max Brook from X-Wing.
Yeah,
wrote an art piece that we liked. That was
I was like, yes, we should do this because he had tiny hands, and I'm like, how are we gonna make those in plastic? Put something in.
Yeah, have them hold something.
But yeah, I think each of them kind of has something unique. Like Luke said, the Viper droid has 2 leg options, like a flying forward, one with his legs dangling behind, and one that's just kind of floating there, just doing the classic like beginning of Hoth kind of larger, but still a recon droid, just like scooting real slow. So I really like it because I like what I want to do all the time is like get more shapes and stuff into Legion. I like when you look at the table and there's just some more variety here and there, little pockets of like really interesting silhouettes, and it's like stuff like dark droids and stuff like these are just immediately adding that to the Separatist faction as well as just looking cool on the table. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, and all those little droids are canon too.
It's all canon. Yeah, people don't know where that PK droid is.
Yeah, where's that PK droid? Yeah, do your research.
Go watch episode 1.
Phantom Menace, kids.
Yeah, like 2 scenes.
Yeah,
very nice. Yeah, I know it's really cool. I do just love. He's just got the little B1 head. It's like I'm gonna fix this guy.
Ratio.
I'm gonna bring him back. So we're running a little low on time. I do want to address one question. Hey, look.
Finish on.
So Luke, obviously we've had a few releases. We've had Padme and Cad Bane. We've got some releases coming up, and I believe you've told me about upcoming update to the rules reference, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll have. That was just a little bit delayed. Working from home, trying to do a lot of things at once. That'll be up soon, and I think later this year, perhaps a little later than it dropped last year, but still this year, we're going to have. Some points changes in errata, so again later this year you can expect that. But yep, do we want to give a little hint? To
I believe we were talking about giving a little hint.
So, one of the things we're definitely prioritizing right now is increasing the options for these 2 new factions. But we're not forgetting about our Rebel and Imperial
That's right.
players.
We still have Galactic Civil War.
This is just a little hint to tell you that after these units come out, the Anakin, Maul, and the 2 Specialist packs, the next 4 units are going to be Rebel and Imperial units.
That's right.
Some things I'm really excited about. Exactly. 2, I would say, highly requested characters included in those. One thing that is going to be interesting is it's canon. We didn't make it up, but I've never seen a single person guess that it would be in Legion. I mean, you know what one I'm talking about.
Okay. I think so too. Yeah, it's.
But I mean, these announcements are ways out there, so we don't want to reveal anything.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't.
But want to let you Rebel and Imperial players know you're not forgotten.
Yes.
All right.
Very cool stuff.
So I think, that's probably a good time to start wrapping things up. We had actually a lot of questions in the chat about Inferno Squad.
Oh, they're coming.
Yep, they are coming. Look for actually the preview article for Inferno Squad this upcoming week.
Nice.
On Wednesday. That will be posted on our website, so look for that then. Inferno Squad and Clan Ren are releasing at the end of August. If I remember the date correctly, it's August 28th. I think that is updated on our upcoming page. I just went through earlier this week and updated all of those. Shortly after that, we are going to have the Republic ATRT, the Staff Riders. What are the other two that I'm missing from there?
I think that covers it.
Those are coming in early September. And then you can expect Anakin and Maul in November, I believe. And then the Specialists, look for those in stores in January. So there you have it, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's been an honor, I feel like, being on the GenCon main stage. So thank you for joining us, everybody at home. Luke and Cory, thank you for being here. It was awesome. I'm super excited for all of these expansions. Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. And we are still coming at you with a few more live streams tomorrow. You can check out the rest of our schedule just below the stream on Twitch currently. So thanks a lot, everybody.